And hi, everybody. Welcome to Rick Snider's Washington on YouTube, where you get the whole story. So please like, share, subscribe, comment, even hit the thanks button, that dollar sign down below here, somewhere right in there, where you tip your sports writer for spending an hour with you at the end of a 15-hour day. Got to go to practice early. So, was at practice today? So, lots to talk about. Lots to talk about on things. There's a lot of you have been coming. All right, first in, and Steve. Steve, you always do it. Steve, you beat Bob, and I know Bob likes to be first too. But thank you both for coming. I'll let everybody. I'll just goof off until a few people show up. But Washington Commanders it was an interesting week for everything, and today was no different. There's always something going on. Usually not good, but anyway, we'll have a few people show up. It's just the three of us, I guess. We need more than that. Anyway, if you're watching this later on replay, because so many people do, once again, last week more watched on replay than watched live. Um, you know, ample through. We're going to talk Washington Commanders and anything else you want to talk about. Storms. I got lucky there. Nothing happened today. Michael, sorry. Okay. Well, you're third. What can I tell you? I'll get to Sam in a little bit, Bob. Everyone wants to talk quarterbacks. There's a lot going on this week. And of course, I'll be doing this most Mondays. Sometimes I think there's a couple Monday games, or at least one coming up. I'll do Tuesday or something like that. But I'll try and make it every week from now to the end of the season. I think we did it last year, so I take bye week off whenever that is. I forget later down the road. And we're only I don't know 11 days away from the first preseason game against Cincinnati, which I guess Joe Burrow won't be playing in. So that means it's going to be zero interesting at all. I had people ask me already, how much are starters playing in the preseason opener against Cincinnati? Ron hadn't even begun to talk about that. I think they might play a little more this year than usual because Ron last year, I think Carson Wentz played 2 series. I could see Sam playing more on that. Bob was saying, how long does it take to get? All right, so I live as far away from Commanders Park as you can, and both of us still be in the DC metropolitan area. I live now about 40 miles southeast of town. Right, Commanders Park's about 30 miles. I'm in the southeast, there in the northwest, and but it took me not bad today. I think it was an hour and a half because I left at 6 a.m. to try and beat traffic. It's usually 2.5 hours. And coming home, I was lucky because there was an upside down car on the Wilson Bridge, but it was on the other side. So I didn't get stuck on that. All right, we got 10 people up, so I guess I can start acting for real. All right, we're just kind of getting ready. I let everybody come in the room. But like I said, you can watch this on replay if you miss anything. Average person stays 15 minutes. If you want to come back tomorrow and watch the rest of the show, we do an hour. And if you're wondering what the shirt says, it's about national parks. I forget. After being hot and sweaty all day, I change. All right. Okay. So today's practice, so we're just going to add a few things. Jamin Davis was not there. It seems he was in court because he was appealing a conviction of driving 114 miles an hour in a 45 zone. 69 miles an hour is a reckless charge. He was first given 30 days in jail and a penalty, fine, all that. And then he appealed it, and they had a deal worked out with the prosecution to limit it to up to 8 days, which means you get time off for good behavior. He probably would have done 4. But the judge said, no, this was a dangerous thing you did, and they're going to meet Thursday and talk about it. So Jamin's going to go to jail for a few days, and it's like, wow, that's just crazy. Doing 114 in most states, including Virginia. Virginia's really hard on speeders. I think about it a lot when I'm driving over there. And Joel once said, what I'm driving, the same thing I've driven since 2006, a Toyota 4Runner, which is 257,000 miles. And I haven't had a car payment in about 15 years, where I hear people now commonly have $1,000 car payment. Good Lord, man. There's no way I could afford that. Was a house payment, not a car payment. Anyway, so Jamin Davis has got to go back Thursday and see what goes on there. But in most states, if you're doing 20 over, They actually can arrest you on the scene, put you in cuffs, and take you to jail. That seems a little extreme. You don't usually hear that as much, but you got to think about things like that. I looked back on a couple others. Uh, Listen, 114 is not even the team record. I once did a story on Terry Allen, who back in 1997 did 133 miles an hour, but even worse, ran from the cops and was caught with drunk driving and all that. So he got so I called up a judge down there in Georgia. It's a little town in Georgia where Terry's from. And I said, "Hey, Judge, what's the sentencing guidelines on something like this?" And he goes, 133? You're going to jail in my courtroom. Well, I used that line, and the defense attorney correctly had the judge removed for somebody else. But Terry did do, I think he did 5 of the 10 days in jail and then came to camp. Um, Jason Worth did 5 days in jail. The Washington Nationals guy, he was doing at least 105 on the Beltway going home after a game, I guess. And he went 5 days of jail and 30 days license. I have a feeling with Jamin Davis, they'll probably work it so he serves the time after the season. But I don't know. Judge seems kind of mad, so I wouldn't want to be that. Today they also did Washington sign running back Derek Gore. He was with with Washington 2019 practice squad. Has also been in New Orleans, the Chargers, and Kansas City, and of course Kansas City has Eric Bieniemy signing him. So they're back at 90 persons on the roster. Uh, Last year he did 11 games, special teamer mostly, but yeah, like averaged about 5 yards a carry and had 250 yards. Does he make the team? Maybe on special teams. He's not going to make it as a running back, I don't think. So that was the only roster moves they did today. Tomorrow, Tuesday, they're going to go to pads for the first time. You have to do 5 days in pads, and then you can do. Commander sending me a note. Then you put on the pads. So they're going to do that for 2 days, and then they'll take a day off, and then they'll go back to pads. And Terry McLaurin, you usually don't hear offensive guys talk about this. Said, "Yeah, buddy, I'm ready. You quit pulling on my jersey, or you'll find out what I'm running through." I was like, "Here you go, Terry. Love that." You don't hear that much. But I know some of the defensive guys are ready. The defensive line, offensive line is the biggest thing that'll benefit here because you want to see how the O line can handle a pretty good defensive line. Chase Young, I think, has kind of wised up as to what he's got to do. And so, I think he's much more motivated. Of course, it's a contract year, so he's going to get some money. Speaking of money, Abe, thank you so much for hitting the gas money. Yeah, gas money is crazy now. And tolls going to Redskin Park. It cost me about $30 between the tolls and gas because I live so far away. It's my fault, but whatever. So years ago, I wanted to buy a house when I first started covering the team back in in the 80s, and my wife just didn't want to do it. So I could have bought a house in Ashburn for 130,000. That today would go for about $800,000 or $900,000. Yeah. Oh well. Happy married, happy wife, happy life. What can I say? But thank you, Abe, and all of you can chip in. I always appreciate it. It does help, and this is the end of a 15-hour day, so I appreciate people realizing that and helping out. Try to catch up here. What role would Joe Gibbs have with the new team? Asked Joel. Just an advisor, consultant. He's not going to have any regular dealings. I mean, Joe's in his 80s now, so he's glad to help out. I'm sure he'll show up once in a while, but and Josh Harris bought a piece of Joe Gibbs Racing, so they have some common interest, I guess. Maybe he did that to help get Joe over football. I don't know. Okay, let's see. Am I going to any preseason games? Antoinette asked. Yeah, the two home ones. I go to all home games. I think I've missed. I think I figured out 6 games in home games wise in like 30 years, something like that. I used to go to the road games, but nobody pays me anymore to do that, so I'd go. Let's see. Michael says everyone wants to see Chase prove us wrong, but no one should expect it. I think Chase has wised up that the NFL is not a given just because you were any good at one in college or even a decent rookie year. You got to bring it every day because everybody else is, and you should show up at camps more often. But he doesn't like to do that, just the mandatory ones. Let's see. And today there's nobody at practice as far as fans go. So I sat in the, in those bleachers myself. I get tired of standing out there all for hours. Uh, and it wasn't hot as blazes. I mean, the camp's been really hot. So Richmond John, thank you so much for helping out with the Jamin Davis bailout fund. Yeah, that's funny. Um, who was in the owner's box at the first game? Asked Joel. Well, I guess the owners. There's 20 of them, so they're probably going to fill that place up themselves. Have not heard anything. That's way ahead of schedule about stuff. The traveling alienist. The first year we've seen any kind of sports analyst give Washington praise. They always seem pretty biased against Washington. Well, I'm a native Washingtonian, so screw them. I think the outsiders don't quite know what's going on in here yet, because but they'll figure it out. Del Rio, we go with a 5-1-5 defense even more? Asked league commander. Um, no, well, you'll see it. Well, because Jamie Davis won't be there. I like Cody Barton. I think he's a pretty interesting player to watch on there. And hi to Tech Mark B. But they did have a lot of fans. I don't know if there were really 10,000 people there on Saturday. Um, it's hard to count. The bleachers were like 2,000. And I don't know, were there 4 times more people outside the bleachers? I don't think so. But it was a pretty solid crowd, and they did a pretty good job getting people in and out of there because you have to park far away and take a shuttle bus. And moving 10,000 people by bus is not easy. And they had a long line. People are excited. I mean, and people are really excited about this, just the change of ownership and being done with Dan Snyder and all that. So they're coming out, they're cheering. I'd say it's probably the best crowds they've had since maybe 2013. That was RG3's second season. We were in Richmond at camp then, and all you heard for 3 hours, morning and afternoon, was RG3. I mean, it was like the Beatles and those videos you see of the women screaming when the Beatles come and just mania. That's what it was like with RG3, man. People could not stop screaming it. Alfred Morris one time told a story. He had 4 kids in front of him getting his autograph, and somebody goes, "Hey, there's RG3," and the 4 of them ran away, and he just laughed. But RG3 was a little embarrassed by it at times, and his teammates kind of got tired of it. There wasn't quite anything like that this time, but they did some interesting. The crowd was into it. They were cheering during the kickoff. I'm sorry, field goal attempts, because Ron wanted to simulate a little noise. I mean, he's used to nobody being around. So what a difference it makes when people care. The team spent about $2 million on the bleachers and such. So and stuff they're having. So and of course that had to be done months ago. So I mean, it's really Jason Wright's deal here. Has Magic been to any practices? Matrix asked. Not that I've seen. Harris was at 1 or 2. I think Rails came to a couple. Well, they got lives. You know, you don't make that kind of money just watching practice. Okay, Joel, can we get the Navy Yard to move to the stadium next to Nats Park? No, it's going to RFK. I wrote a big thing the other day. It's going to RFK. All the DC politicians are lined up because they all want to do it. There's a bill in Congress now to extend the lease at RFK to 99 years. And now all the politicians are like, I was the first one to welcome the Redskins. I'm a Commanders back. You know, I mean, they're all wanting to take credit because it's a legacy thing. I was the one who did it. The mayor's been mayor 4 terms now. I'm sure she wants to be the shadow senator or something when Eleanor Holmes Norton retires. They're all tripping over each other to do this. You're not going to have the whole RFK experience like the old days. I think you'll get the big lot 8 for some of the parking, and probably you're going to just take the metro. If you're one of the old people at RFK, you probably aren't coming anymore because it's you're old. But it's for a new generation. And RFK, as I was talking to some teen people, I said, that's your ancestral homeland. I don't care who you have to beg, borrow, steal, kill to get back, but you've got to get back to RFK if you want a future. I just don't think Poplar Point was something they really looked at, but everyone would have to take the metro of that one. I just don't see it. Todd, linebacker position is thin and not good. Well, it's thin. I would say that, but I think they'd be okay. Airline's thin and not good. Well, we're going to find that out soon. Tight end is thin. Totally disagree with you there. I think it's a very good tight end group. I think Logan Thomas, put him on your fantasy team, telling you now, get him cheap in the fantasy drafts. going to pay off for you. Sam doesn't develop what is the best position group on offense? Receiver. I mean, they're deep there. Joel, is 190 acres enough? Well, RFK is the land that they're willing to do on all this is now 146 because some of it has been developed. And some of this other land is going to be developed for residential and commercial. The good part of that is the developers who have to do all that are going to have to kick in some money, infrastructure, things like that, that will help as far as the stadium costs go. I'm sure the city will put in a little money. Um, and then, so Josh Harrison Group's not going to have to spend, I don't know, the whole 2 billion or whatever it is. By doing it this way, everybody gets a piece, including citizen groups. It all works together. There's a lot of real synergy going on here that can work. And the new ownership group has people that the DC government like. William Rails has been around the city for a long time, art guy, but he's done a lot of public projects. He's got some favors he can call in. Magic's, makes things happen. And Josh Harris is no fool. He's finally, I think, on the verge of his 76ers arena. Guy has had to bring in money. Well, the first preseason game he televised, Traveling Alien. Let's see, that's against Cincinnati. At Cincinnati, I don't know. The second one is the night game, Monday night game against Baltimore at FedEx. I know that's being nationally televised. I mean, they're all locally televised, but nationally, I don't know about that. Will the new RFK have to be a dome? Asked Steve. I would think so. I mean, listen, you're going to spend a couple billion on a place. You can't just do it for 10 football games. You got it, or 9, whatever it is. You've got to do it for 200 events. I mean, otherwise tickets are $4,000 in the upper deck. I mean, don't expect any coupons for cheap food or anything. I don't think that's happening. I know they're working on some fan experience stuff. The tunnel above both tunnels where fans hung out and the rail broke last year against Philly. They actually have huge fences, chain link fences there, brand new ones. You don't even have duct tape or anything. So they've put that around both of the tunnels. So you're no longer going to be able to lean over the tunnel and try and take somebody's gloves or whatever. They had to do some safety. How intense would tomorrow's padded practices be? Asked Chris. I think a lot more on the line than anywhere else. But yeah, especially if you're new to this team, you got to show this team what you can do. And you're showing coaches, and you do that by hitting somebody. You hit people to a point. You can't knock them out. These are your teammates. It does nobody any good to hurt Sam Howell. So it's still limited in a little bit. You see more of who can handle the pass rush, offensive lineman, the blowback, things like that. Josh Snyder spells it like I do. Hey, how you doing? Maybe this is a relative I don't know about yet. Traveling, I only see the second game televised, NFL Network. That may be it for on a national basis. I mean, it's a preseason game. And that's the only game you care about. It's the Baltimore game where maybe they play half. The rest of the time, they're boring junk, especially now. The third game's a total throwout. It just isn't much to watch. Joel, how about an open-end stadium facing the monuments? No, because you lose seats that way. And actually, that's the front of the stadium facing the monuments, so you can't make the front of your stadium open. Bob, interesting fact. Harris is paying for that new arena in Philly himself. Yeah. Well, we'll see if he has any money left after that. Michael, a basketball arena costs a lot less than a football stadium. And I have said, I could see Leones just wanting that site of Washington. The Commanders don't take it. Man, we are 17 minutes in. Not one of you has asked about the names. Thank you. Or just tormenting you back. I did say this week, if they had to change the name, I finally have a name I like. I'd say make them the Burgundy and Golds. Half the stadium would be yelling Burgundy and the other side would be yelling Gold. They do this in colleges. I do that. Do the B and G's. They're the BGs staying alive. Something like that. That's my best shot. I can't do Red Wolves or Red Hogs or Red whatever because nobody will be happy. I don't know about the name change. It's a ways off. The new owners have basically said they'll consider it, but not today. Got other things to do today. Wait till after the season. Let them think about a lot of things, and maybe. Okay, Traveling Alien. I think they still got Tutty. Yeah, he was there the other day at practice, and not 100-degree weather. If you're not in Washington right now, I can just tell you. Well, the heat broke Sunday with a horrific storm. Was it Saturday? Yeah, I don't know. It was one day this week. All hell broke loose on the, on the storms and overturned a lot of big trees and everything. But it broke the heat finally, because it's been hot. It's been a heat index over 100, which is typical of Washington for a little, in the middle of late July. It's always hot here. Let's see. Todd says Florida State does that down here in Tallahassee, Garnett and Gold. Okay. I covered one game, Maryland playing at Florida State. It was a show. Everybody's doing the tomahawk thing. Indians riding the midfield with flaming spear, throwing it toward the Maryland sideline. It was interesting. Let's see. Abe says the name talk's just to rev fans up. Sure. Well, fans are the ones doing it. I foo foo. He says, hope you're having a great night. Well, thank you. Yeah. Anytime I talk to fans like this, I enjoy doing it. If I hated doing it, I wouldn't do it. So it's a good way to just kind of figure out what you guys are interested in. I go out there the rest of the week and worry about stuff. I'm not there every day because no one pays me to be there every day. And I do have other things I'm doing. Got a new book I'm working on about presidents and drinking. It's going to be fun. Actually, I have a new tour coming out on that too. And if you look on the board there, it says, what does it say? Yeah, get the commandpost.com, which I'm going to tell you about in just a second. Where is that? Oh, here it is. All right. So if you really love this team, I've been editor of this publication for about 30 years. We used to have other names, but Warpath and all. Now, it's Command Post, and it's got 24 pages, and it comes with all kind of great stuff. And we desperately need subscribers. Desperately. We're down to the bone. And if you really, it's one of the last few papers in the NFL. And so if you'd like to get it, and you can actually read it online too if you want. But you go to getthecommandpost.com, and in there it talks about a code. Put Rick in there. That'll help, at least me. And it would be a big help to try and keep this paper alive. Otherwise, I think it's our last season. I don't know that for sure. I don't own it. I just run it. But it's to the bone. You guys want to watch the internet now. You don't want to read anything. You can read me still on Odyssey.com, 1067 The Fan, which I'll have a column tomorrow about practice. All right. Somebody wants to know how to go to a DC history tour with me, Joel. If you go to, I hate saying this, but if you, because I had to do a temporary website. It's a long story, and it's big bad Rick at WordPress.com. Usually it's Monumental Thoughts, but it's a long story. It'll be back to me Monumental Thoughts soon. But if you want to, or you can just email me off of Rick Snider's Washington on Twitter, stuff like that, and send me a message there, and I can take you wherever. I got fans going this weekend. We're going to go eat pizza afterwards. One of the best pizza places in town. Who writes with me on Command Post, Bob? Well, a few veteran writers, Jim Dusabella, who's covered the team many years, Tom Lavero on there, Dennis Tuttle, long sports writer, and Chris Russell, who covers the team for that. So we have about 15 decent like stories every issue. Nothing else compares to it. So if you, like I said, it's right there on the whiteboard. Get the commandpost.com and put my name in under the code. Look for it. It's hard to find, but it's a nice little tabloid, So we write lots of stuff in this thing. It's just, what can I say? Nobody else does it. You don't get as much print coverage anymore. The press corps itself is much smaller than it used to be years ago. All right, Todd said nobody told them to buy WFT and Mando's gears. Most of us did, and they're lost. They want to support the team. Wear what you want. Josh, how's the rookie running back looking in camp so far? I assume you're talking about Chris Rodriguez, who I think has, in the limited we've seen, I think he looks good. When he's running hard down the field with the ball, you better bring your A game to tackle him. I'll say that. Let's see. Traveling, the only thinks another name change would be crazy. Well, probably, but why is that going to stop us? And buying jerseys again for $200, change the name again. And then they're vintage. Oh, that's a lot of money to spend on the gear. I agree. On there. Chris, why isn't the Rooster doing Locked On Commanders anymore with David. You have to ask Rooster that. I think something happened and he's not doing it. That's his business. I don't want to speak about it on that. But that's why you have to come watch my videos every day. Most of you probably do on there. Somebody's messaging me. Okay. It's the media is always ever evolving. That's for sure. Let's see. Did I see Kevin Wildes pick the Commanders to win the NFC East? I did not, Seth. Partly because I don't even know who Kevin Wildes is. Can't keep up with everybody. And not everybody's opinion is outside opinion, just them looking in. So, all right, it's 8:24. So, most of you watch 15 minutes, so I'll just repeat myself, especially those of you who came in late. If you do hit the thanks button, I appreciate it. It's a way to support the show. And guys like me who spend 15-hour days on Mondays working pretty much through the season to stay an extra hour to talk to you about whatever. You don't get this too many other places, though. I see John Kime now is doing it some. So he talks different things than I talk about. He's a good X's and O's kind of guy. So somebody hit a heart button. I don't know how that works, but thanks. Who's the odd man out at receiver? Asked Todd. Looks like Pringle will make the team. Kemp or Kaz Allen for teams. I like what I've seen of it from Kemp. In a couple days, he has good hands, good speed. He's Eric Bieniemy got him signed here, so could work. Yeah. Oh, hit the thumbs up button too. The algorithm loves that. I personally don't care. Don't hit the thumbs down button, but the thumbs up button. If you do nothing, if you don't want to give me any money, that's fine. I can't make you. But hit the thumbs up button for me because the algorithm loves that. That's why I start the show every time talking about, please like, share, subscribe, because that's the algorithm listening going, ooh, okay, we will send you more people. That's how YouTube really works. They're the second biggest search engine behind on the internet behind Google, which owns them. And so, you have to bow to the algorithm now and then. Michael expects him to sign a left guard still before the season. Well, Chris Paul got some snaps today with the first teams versus Sadiq Charles. They want to give him more chances against the first line, defensive line. So we'll see who gets that. I mean, I still think Sadiq is in front, but Sadiq has a history problem with injuries. So we'll see. They like Chris Paul too. They talked up a lot about him. Robert said, "Do you think we pick up a linebacker after camp cuts?" I think that's a possibility. I mean, even Ron's kind of admitted, surprised that they didn't sign another linebacker. But I seen much of the kickers. Who gets the job? Asked Steve. Yeah, I watched Bagley hit a couple. I didn't write down how long they were, but they were around 40. But Bagley's problem is his kickoffs suck. So I don't know. I still think Joey's in front, but let him kick in the games. See what happens. The Celtics center has entered the chat. Okay, who's that, Richmond John? I have no idea. Let's see, Chris, you should do a show about things on your shelf behind me. Well, it's my beautiful wife. There's Buy Dan Beer. I was actually wondering if I should just get rid of Buy Dan Beer since he's gone. Next to that, it's a Jack Kent Cook beer, the Big Jack. So I still have it. Never opened it. I used to drink Big Jack at training camp. We used to, when we were in Frostburg, when we go to the bar at night, you could get a regular draft for 25 cents. I kid you not. And 50 cents for a Big Jack beer. So I once gave a guy the $1 and just said, keep the change. And he was honestly, sincerely thanking me for such a thing. God, this poor guy doesn't make any money. Yeah, I'll keep Big Dan as a memento. I may take him off the prime shelf. Oh, there's my bobblehead with John Wilkes Booth, whom I'm related to. So on mom's side on there, cousin. And there's Abe Lincoln next to him, who, John Wilkes Booth shot. I do a lot of Lincoln tours. So if you want to know something about that, you want to come. If you're coming to DC, you want to go on tour with me. It's not that expensive, and we can go do pretty much whatever you want to do. So email me, whatever you call it, message me at Rick Snider's Washington on Twitter, if you can, or I guess you could probably do it somehow here on YouTube, which I don't know how, but some of you would. All right, the unknown ism. I'd be out at running back. I was watching today. Jonathan Williams, I think, has had a nice few days, but he might be the odd man out. Seth, will the new owner lower the price of beer at games? Well, Seth, he paid $6 billion for this team. You think he's going to cut beer prices? I don't think so. I don't. I don't. I don't think so. I don't see any of these prices going down. Like I said, everybody wants a new stadium. Wait till you see those prices. They're going to be money. Um, what are Jake's chances? Hall of Fame this time? Asked Robert. I still don't think he doesn't. I don't think he gets in this time. There's some other bigger names in front of him, at least among writers. So I don't think he will. Shanny and Schottenheimer are up for the coach. There's a chance that one of them could get in. How's Sam Howell looking? Asked Alexander. Well, I've always been a Sam Howell backer. I always thought he could be decent with this, and I wouldn't say I changed my mind. I would just say that there's going to be moments that you have to watch the game between your fingers. I mean, he's going to make mistakes. You know, you just hope he doesn't make the same mistake twice, and you hope you don't make them often. But listen. I think he could be in the middle of the pack among NFL passers, which is much better than everybody else thinks. But I think he's decent. He's got a good arm. He's got a deep arm. Seems smart. He's rolling out well. He's learning everything. I think he's giving them everything they can. And at the end of the year, we'll see how well he played and whether they use the first round pick next year for a quarterback. Or if things see how things go right now, if they get off, I don't think they get off to a bad start. But I mean, this team really wanted Arizona in the opener because the Cardinals don't travel fan wise, so those fans in the stadium are going to be Commanders fans, and they're a bad team, so Commanders could win. That's what you want with a new owner. You want to win your first game. Larry Brown asked Steve, no, it's just not. Good player, just not quite good enough. Like Charles Mann. Nobody ever asked me about Charles Mann. Charles Mann was a hell of a player, but just below that number, to get in. That's a shame because he could some other times. Tech Mark B, if a product on the field is good and they're at RFK or whatever, stuff works it out. Yeah, I think so. If they build at RFK, I can tell you now, I know they're going to do this. It would be, say, FedEx Field at RFK Stadium, or whatever sponsor at RFK, because that is still federal land. RFK was a U.S. senator running for president, brother of the president who was murdered. When Robert Kennedy was also murdered. When the Nats came in 2005, Ted Kennedy was still in the Senate, and the Nats wanted to change the name and get a sponsor name with the Army, and they just Congress laughed them out of the room. I expect the same thing to happen. There's still an RFK statue in front of the stadium. If you've ever seen it, it's right in the middle of the opening by the front door. It's right there. I think it'll always be something at RFK Stadium. Abe, based on the pressers, it seems that Hal may be a bit too overconfident. I wouldn't say that. I mean, I've talked to the kid some. Listen, you can't be weak. You can't show weakness. So take it for what it is. But I think he's fine on all of this. Let's see, what else happened today? Anything? I mean, even Ron was talking about the defense. They talk a lot of nonsense on the field. A lot of, and there's a lot back and forth. It really is. And he said, Ron said, it's okay to be cocky if you're good. And I think they are going to be good. I mean, there's a point where you have to dial it down a little because you're still teammates in the end. One thing he threw today, he threw a wicked pick to Cameron Curl. Curl made a nice play on the ball, but still, I wouldn't have thrown that one. But some of the stuff Sam's doing in practice, he's trying to experiment on some things too, and see if he can do it. And if it doesn't work, maybe he won't. Alexander's hoping the stadium's in DC. I'm thinking pretty much that's where it's going to go. Lee, Hal's not looking bad. I think he's looking decent. He's just not looking superhero great like everybody would like. You've got to give this guy some time. I mean, come on, he's had one game, and people are going to want him to just play balls out and be an all-pro and all that. That'd be nice, but that's not happening. You just don't want him to be a disaster. You want him to at least start his first real year being decent. That's all you can ask. I mean, in the end, that's what Taylor Heineke was. He was decent. People liked him. He was a good guy, a good story. So just have to cut this one a little slack. Um, Michael says people younger than he and I, and we're about the same age, don't know who RFK was. Robert F. Kennedy, brother of John F. Kennedy, and he was running for president in '68. I think he would have beat Nixon if he had lived, but he was shot by a guy who was upset with the American policy with Palestine. And is that guy still in jail? I forget, or did he die last? He didn't ever get out. I know that. So, let's see. Am I writing for camp? Sure, Alexander. It's on Odyssey.com, AUDACY.com. I do write. Have a column in tomorrow about it. I still write some. I would write more, but the media, honestly, the media has been gutted since the pandemic. They gutted everybody they could get rid of. I lost 3 good writing jobs, and no one's ever come back to get us because they figured out they could live without us and just save the money. Sucks. I'm glad I'm at the end of my career. If I was in 30s, I'd probably move on. But I can do this. That's what YouTube is for. Really, this whole YouTube thing I do with the 2-minute shows, morning and evening, 6 a.m., around 5 p.m., was to stay in the media. And if it had failed, I probably would have retired. I was thinking anyway, if Dan hadn't sold, I was going to retire. I was just tired of his nonsense. But it's gone very well. More than 14 million views on social media, this show. My podcast is coming back soon, too, with Matt. So you'll be able to see it. Yeah, Alexander's right. RFK was shot in a hotel kitchen as he's going out the back door. Okay, Bob, is camp strictly on the grass? Yes. Well, they do have the bubble in case of bad weather or something. And they do the bubble for some walkthroughs, too. So it's a different kind of spongy field, but it's not, the cement like some of these artificial turf fields were. You either make good or bad, or you dink and dunk. We've had it with dinking and dunking, says Michael. Well, I agree with that. It gets boring. Oh, Rosie Greer was his bodyguard, says Steve. I didn't know that. All right, Todd. Season prediction for Sam. He's got 3,500 yards. I will say 2,850. You got 24 touchdowns. I'll say 18. You got 15 picks. I'll say 12. I don't know about rushing yards. What's going to happen there? Or fumbles lost. But there'll be some moments. Michael, check down Charlie. Can take a one-way ticket out of town. There you go. Did I watch Barbie yet? Alexander asked. Yeah, I went with my wife. We thought it was funny. The interesting part is the younger people in the audience were laughing at different parts than we were. Visually, just because it was like a 60s thing a lot, I enjoyed looking at visually. Had a couple laughs. I thought Ken was really funny. I give it a C+. I tell you what I did see. I went and saw Mission Impossible this last weekend. Excellent. I think it's the best Mission Impossible of the entire series. I don't know if I've even seen them all, but it had nonstop action. You will love Mission Impossible. That was a really good one. I've always liked them anyway, but some years they weren't as good as others. Abe, joint practices. Yeah, they're practicing against the Ravens next week, is it? I think. No, the week after. 2 weeks from now is 2 practices during the middle of the week at Baltimore, and then they play the Ravens on a Monday night afterwards. A kind of weird schedule in the preseason. They play Cincinnati. They have 10 days off. Then they play Monday night, and then they play it's either a Friday or I think it's a Saturday. They play the final preseason game. Then you get a week off and all that. Michael's asking about John Geronimo. I'm staying away from this whole thing. All right, I'm sorry. I'm just not going to comment about any of that because I get nothing good out of any of that. Commenting on people like that is never in your best interest. And it would have been Don's best interest not to say stupid stuff too, because he got fired. For those of you who may not have heard about it, just commenting on somebody. Alexander, you have to watch the show The Bear. I've seen the previews. I haven't seen the show though. Is it about a bear? Cocaine Bear was funny. I did go watch that movie months ago, just because I wanted to laugh at something. It was so stupid. It was funny. Harris missed out 10,000 times $20 per car times 200 grand. Well, ball guy, they don't have anywhere to park cars by the park anymore. All the land they used to have 20 years ago for parking has all been sold to big internet monolith buildings. which Redskin Park will be sold one day too for such a thing. And they're going to move the training facility, I would bet, in about 3 years, and it'll still be in the Ashburn area. It's not. I don't think it's going to go wherever the stadium goes. I think they're going to stay out there, but I don't know where exactly. But Ashburn's being gobbled up by people. It's a huge town. Week one, playing Clayton Tune. Lee Jones. Yeah, they better win that game. The Bears bet a restaurant in Chicago. Oh, okay. I haven't had a chance to do a football starting. I'm kind of busy a lot of times. What's the contract like for Ashburn? I don't know, Todd, how to quite answer that. Let's see, Bob. He's thinking Bob thought Don Geronimo left years ago, and he did. He came back and was on an oldie station, which has the team's games. So he actually was out at the park because the station had the games. Otherwise, he would never be out there. The Bear was great if you liked a lot of screaming and high-stress backline kitchen scenes, says Richard John. Well, I cooked in a restaurant for 3 years when I was a teenager, steakhouse. So I can tell you all about cooking and in restaurants. One, your feet hurt. Two, it's hot as blazes. And three, I didn't mind when it was busier because it made the time pass quicker. But it's still a tough job. And after I graduated high school, they were trying to say, "Hey, why don't you go into this as a career?" I thought, nah, no. I was either going to be a U.S. park ranger, join the Marines, or become a writer. That was my three ideas. And I became a writer. And I didn't become a Marine because we weren't at war or anything back then. It was kind of a lull in things. So they didn't need me. Okay, Todd, likely stay in Ashburn for years. I think so. The Richmond thing is done. That whole contract's done. And Richmond's trying to rework that property now and go move on with their lives too. So Richard John says, wife digs the Bear. Okay, well, that's between you guys. I'm not talking about these things. Angelo, thank you so much for kicking in there. I appreciate it. Oh, always make you smile. There you go. I'm glad. Do I amuse you? Yeah. Am I funny? Whatever. I can't do Goodfellas tonight. I'm too tired. What piece of advice would you give a 27-year-old turning 28 in September? Don't do it, man. Getting old sucks. I can tell you that right now. Of course, it doesn't really suck till you get 50s. Although I had a heart attack at 42 covering this team when I was working 80-hour weeks pumping content to you guys. Did you appreciate it? No. And I'm laying on the floor at Redskin Park, almost dead. Had the Widowmaker. And luckily the trainer saved my life. They got me to the hospital, saved my life. I was the one of 20 who survived that kind of a heart attack. That's a sobering thought. So, but anyway, here I still am. And it's funny, when you have to have a bypass, the doctors will tell you, "Oh, you're good for 20 years with a bypass." Well, my bypass is coming up on 20 years. And I asked my cardiologist, I said, what we doing? She goes, we just say that. Because I think most guys that have bypasses are like 60, 20 years of dead of something else. So they said the 20 is just a guess. As long as you take care of yourself, there's no ticking bomb. At least I hope so. I hope not, or I should say that. All right. Were they at least winning then? I forget, Todd, win. But anyway, if you're 27, 28, put money in your 401k. You want to know something? My best advice to you, put money in your 401k best you can, because luckily my wife and I did that. We invested well. T. Rowe Price is who I have my 401k with, has done a great job for me, to the point that now I don't have to work. I'm 63 and I don't have to work because the investments did so well. So if I want to tell somebody to go blow, I can. If I want to quit this tomorrow, I can. So I would say invest, man. Don't buy an expensive car. Put some of that money in savings and 401ks and all. And you'll be better. That's how it works, really. Then you don't have to be 70 and have to work at Walmart chasing carts. When did I have a heart attack? 2002. Coming up on another anniversary. 21 years. Do I ever talk to Bubba? Asked Bob. Yeah, I saw Bubba at the presser announcing a new owner. She still comes around. The players love Bubba. So the old players come, Bubba comes on there. And Abe agrees with me. Invest, yes, invest, invest. Put your money in a managed. What they do is they say, "What year will you be 65?" Okay, that's the fund that you're going in. Because that way they time it better for more risk early, less risk late. And like I said, people have $1,000 car payments now. I was talking about this earlier. I haven't had a car payment in 15 years. That's giving money away, man. You can't do stuff like that, you know. So if you're paying for your kids to go to college like I did, don't let them go to some school and wreck your money, man. That's crazy. Don't let them borrow that kind of money. That's crazy. You know, go to a cheaper college. I did. I worked my way through college because nobody was paying my way. Trust me. And I did 2 years community college, and I went to Maryland U, and it worked out well. I had no debt. So I'm not a big debt guy. That's my other piece of advice. So invest your money wisely. Don't spend 50,000 on a car. Get a $30,000 car and put that money into investments. Treasury bills, T bills are really good too. Tax savings. Yeah, like I said, I'm a kid that grew up with nothing, and yet now, I don't have to work. So I'm not rich beyond belief, but I did okay. Marry a smart woman too, who helps you with that. That's my other advice to 27. Marry a smart woman, that'll love you. I've been married 42 years, so I got kind of lucky. I got a beautiful wife, smart. Yeah, that's all you need. You Okay. Back to real life ball guys. A lifelong Washingtonian in the age of having only 3 channels. How big a story was there, Florida? I remember that. I was going to Maryland. It's my last semester at Maryland. Raging snowstorm going on, January of was it 81 maybe? And the subway had a crash and somebody died there. Then you hear about a plane hitting a bridge, and you're like, what? We've had 2 big disasters and a snowstorm, a big snowstorm. That was a crazy day. Somebody asked me about a month ago, a tourist we were around, he goes, is that the bridge that was hit? It wasn't, but it's the one we're riding on now, buddy. Not that one. But it was still people ask me about it. Angela, we used to work for Honda Finance and saw how car payments can set people back. Absolutely. My last car payment was my wife's car, 400 a month, and I hated that. So, be smart about your money. It's not about what you make; it's what you spend. It's kind of like when you exercise. It's not about how much you work out; it's what do you eat. And I've lost 60 pounds over the years, including where am I down? I'm down 40 some in the last year and a half. Try to get serious. When you get to my age, you can either give up and eat everything and die, or you can try and hang on. I was trying to hang on just when Dan Snyder sold. So Angela, you had a 1 year anniversary for the heart attack or the open heart surgery. But either way, probably. But congrats. It gets better. The scar goes away after years. I forgot to turn on the de-icing. I forget exactly what those idiots did. And yeah, Bob Howard Stern was suspended for talking about. He called the airline and asked them what was the fare from National Airport to the bridge, and it's like, what? You do live comedy. Occasionally, you're going to say something stupid and get in trouble. I mean, that's just how it goes. Um, that's why Howard's on Sirius now because he can say whatever he wants. Chris, most of the players live in Northern Virginia. If the stadium moves to RFK, will they move to DC or make the drive? Well, they make the drive now to FedEx, and this would be closer for them. So I would assume they all stay in Ashburn area more. I mean, the Nationals, a lot of them live in Arlington and just drive over. So you don't have to live in DC. Abe's heading out. Thanks, Abe. I appreciate you coming by. Oh, Angela, wedding anniversary. Okay. All right. Well, 1 year. Good. Congratulations. I had a young couple come on tour with me a couple weeks ago, and it was like 3 days after they got married. So in a generous mood, they were going to tip me, and I said, no, it's my wedding present to you. I mean, it was fun. It was fun being with such a nice young couple like that. So it's like, wow, you just got married. Now you came to DC on your honeymoon. Who comes to DC on their honeymoon? I left DC my honeymoon, but I guess they were history people. Well, she was a teacher, and so I just thought that was pretty wild. Um, All right, what time is it? 8:48. We got about 12 minutes. So, hey, if you want to kick in on the thanks button, I would appreciate it. And if any of you wanted to go to getthecommandpost.com, put in Rick as the code, and subscribe to the publication. It's a nice little tabloid, lots of great commanders features and profiles and information. And we desperately need some help, or it's going to probably go away. So if you like this team and you'd like to see a paper dedicated to it, that's all positive. We don't write the bad stuff in this paper. I save that for my other people. But I don't. We don't write anything negative so much in there. Now, if they're losing, we got to be honest with you. But you know, I think it's a pro. We try to be positive. Put it this way. Yeah, well, I see it's like paper and there's stories. There's my calm picture. You know, what did I write? Smile, life gets better. Woo! Wasn't that a headline? Anyway, it's all kind of stuff. Don't do a lot of stats, but because they change all the time. But if you go to getthecommandpost.com, save the paper. There's not many left of them. There's only a handful in the whole NFL, owned by one group, but they're just bleeding out. So we do like, I am a print guy, although I don't have a print outlet except for this one. I've been laid off by 3 daily papers in the last 10 years. It's a hard biz. Wouldn't recommend it for young people. Where can you order the paper, Angela? Like I said, on the website right there, getthecommandpost.com. You can go there and just put in Rick on the code. It's a little hard to see where the bonus code thing is, but it is there. Steve, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Always appreciate you staying the whole show, too. Appreciate the money. Disappointed Mosley came to a practice the other day and didn't try out. You talking about the young Mosley or the old Mosley? I mean, Mark's in his 70s now, but he could probably still hit a 40-yarder. I like it. Mark was one of my favorite players. Yeah, Michael just put up the link for this. Thank you, Michael. You think I'd do that? I probably could. I don't know. But anyway, getthecommandpost.com. You just click that link, stick Rick in under the code that they have right above the money, and you get this great publication. I write a lot of it. I probably write half of it. And the other guys, we have a lot of other writers who chip in the other half because I don't want to write the whole thing. I get bored. Old Mosley, says Steve. Okay. Yeah. And, I loved watching Mark play. He was one of my favorite players. It's the only jersey I have of Redskin days. Someone gave it to me last year for Christmas. So signed already. So I didn't have to get Mark to sign it. But Mark's a good dude. And an MVP, as you said. So, yeah, thank you, Angela. If you subscribe, we appreciate it. And you can also read it online. Part of it is you get a digital if you want to read it too that way. You can't just wait until it comes in the mail. So I do appreciate that. Yeah, make sure you hit Rick there so that they know it was me that sent you. Okay, what we got? 10 minutes. All right. My eyes are getting tired. I was up at 5 a.m. on the road at 6 a.m. to get across town to cover practice. Just takes me an hour and a half if nobody's in my way, and the mornings somebody's in your way all the time. All right, somebody hit a bunch of thanks hearts. I appreciate it, whatever that is. Do hit the thumbs up button. I do appreciate that because the algorithm. I don't care, but the algorithm cares. So that always helps us. This week in practice, so we start pads on Tuesday. Tuesday, Wednesday will be, Tuesday, Wednesday are padded practices. Then they'll take Thursday off the pads, but they still practice. I think they have Friday off or something. But there's a lot of fans coming, So if you want to come, you can. I mean, they just go online to Commanders. They want your email so they can send you merchandise, pitches every day. Chris, going to be subscribing. Thank you. Yeah, you can get it in Charlestown. They mail it everywhere. Well, guys, so many trees down on GW. Yeah, I saw about that. I had a couple of branches was all. It was bad here, but not like that madness in D.C. In fact, Arlington National Cemetery has been closed since Saturday, and it's still closed tomorrow because so many trees are down. And that's amazing. They never close that cemetery. But the guard at the Unknown of the Tombs never left in that hurricane. Well, it was almost like a hurricane. They had like 70-mile-an-hour winds. Guard did not break because no guard has ever stopped since 1937 protecting the Tomb of the Unknowns, and nobody's going to be the guy that breaks that. They even had the plane that hit the Pentagon on 9/11 literally flew so close to the Tomb of the Unknown on its approach that it clipped the top of the trees. And for many years, you could see broken trees up there, but it's finally grown up. But yeah, they didn't leave then either. They doubled the guard that day. And everybody else ran down the Pentagon to help. And I do a lot of history tours. So if you want to go on tours in DC, we can do it. You know, try not to pick a hot day like I had to do the other day. Whew, I was sweating that one. All right, Bob's got to go. Thanks, Bob. Appreciate you coming. All right, Joe. I think the Commanders need to honor our history and have a Redskins throwback uniform. I like that idea. Yeah, I don't like the black uniforms myself either, because it's not this team. It's just a marketing gimmick because people like to buy black uniforms. If you come to practice this summer, do not wear a black uniform because it is 1,000 degrees out there, and we hate to have to carry people who pass out, back somewhere. Don't wear black in the summer. I know you young people who grew up with air conditioning don't realize this, but black adds about 5 degrees on you. Don't do that. Drink some water too. Um, Somebody I said the other day, I said you drink half your body weight in water, meaning ounces. Somebody's like, I got to drink 100 pounds of water, dude. You would die of toxicity if you drank 100 gallons of water, 100 pounds of water. I mean, it's just like crazy. It's 100 ounces for 200-pound person, and it really is true. Drink half your body weight in ounces on hot days. Crack your car windows so your windshield don't crack. There you go. See, we talk about everything here. Um, Sir Fletcher, thank you for coming by. Appreciate that. Um, and Ball Guy did. I just spelled some dirty rumor. I don't know which one it is. And Sir Fletch Flex, I don't know what that means. Adds 5 degrees, but takes 10 pounds off. Till you go back and drink it all back, Ball Guy. I mean, I see coaches who wear these sweat outfits on this. I swear to God, I'm amazed nobody doesn't drop dead from that. I mean, that's not good for your body. For that, all you're losing is water weight. That'll come back easily. Trust me, I know all about losing and regaining weight. Most of the guys are nuts to do that. There's guys that wear, all kind of stocking stuff on during the hot days. Just telling you, man, it's amazing that more people don't have heat-related strokes, kind of thing. If black is slimming, explain Albert Hainsworth. I don't know how to explain that, Michael. You guys are going to get me like banned by talking about something bad. I do try to not do that on there, like somebody else who got in trouble. I'm making up some comments, being baited into. All right, last few minutes. We said anybody wants money, thanks, or you can go to gettocommandpost.com, put in Rick on the code, and try and save a little publication. I'll talk about it once in a while on there. This week also, let's see, with padded practice, it's still a quiet week. Next week is like to get ready for the first preseason game. They don't really do much for game planning in the past, so I wouldn't expect you to go, ooh, there's that. The Baltimore one is when you'll see what's up, because both teams will have a little bit of an interest on there. What throwback would I prefer? Asked Cornell. I would like one with the spear on the helmet. I like the yellow helmet with the big spear on it. That was cool. Sometime in the 60s they wore that. Am I going to camp tomorrow? No, Ball Guy. I have to be somewhere else tomorrow. So I went today. I'll be there Thursday in case you want to come meet me. You can get my attention. Just throw dollar bills over the fence. Thursday I'll be there. So you can yell for me if there. But I don't get paid to go every day anymore, so I don't. I got things to do. It's a long, hard day. Will London Fletcher ever make the Hall of Fame? Charles asked. No. I think part of that is he played extensively for 3 different teams instead of more for one team. And so the fan bases aren't quite as solid behind him as they could be. I mean, you look at his stats. Stats are pretty awesome. Tackles and all. They've never really replaced him effectively. I don't know how many years it's been now. London's been retired. But he was a good, solid player. Once again, like Charles Mann, like Larry Brown, just, right there, and maybe on a right day you could get voted in. But I don't see it. It's hard. It's hard to get in the Hall of Fame. But unless you like, part of the Steelers or the Cowboys, there are favorites in there that get voted in. And let's see what else. All right. And we got 2 minutes. All right, I'll do the 2 minutes. Why not? Seasons of Discontent, the podcast will be back. That's on vacation. So when he gets back about 2 weeks, we'll start the weekly podcast or twice weekly podcast on here. It's 15 minutes. I don't go longer because you won't watch it. Analytics tell us this. All these podcasts people have, 9 minutes is most of what people watch. Here on this, I get you for about 10 to 12 doing these live chats. For my 2-minute videos, the average person watches 90 seconds. I can't. But I actually do shorts once in a while. I put up an 11-second short. It was a history thing. And that people watched it all. I actually had 2,000 people. Shorts are usually naked women on, half naked women or something on YouTube. I haven't done that, but that's who they use, I guess, watch. But people watched that pretty hard the other day. On there. All right, let's see. Of course, I have to finish with the bell. Oh, here's the bell. Oh, rest in peace, Pee Wee Herman. That was sad to see. I liked Pee Wee. Here you go. Ha ha! I love Pee Wee's voice. It was interesting. I was a grown adult when Pee Wee was on, but it was still funny. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate you coming always on there. So, see if anybody else is leaving. Oh, Joe, thank you so much for coming every day. I mean, a lot of people watch. A lot of people tell me I set the schedule for 6 a.m. so they always come up. I don't cut them at 6 a.m. I do them the night before. I'm not that crazy. Plus, I'd be like this at 6 in the morning. You wouldn't want to look at me at 6 in the morning. But they're there at 6 in the morning and roughly 5 p.m. And like days that I'm in practice today, I had one up at noon, so I had that report. Unknown, yeah, Nats traded a third baseman. Sad, but and for a couple minor leaguers that who knows if they're any good. But he was on a 1-year contract, so it's just hard to watch when they stink like this. You watch them at 6 a.m., Steve? Yeah, I appreciate it. So I tried, every day. There's 2 videos up pretty much every day, sometimes more. And occasionally, Saturday mornings, I do a tourism one for everybody. If nothing's going on, I'll do that too. But we try to do a little bit. And I occasionally have a pizza show that comes on. I got to do one again soon, I guess. I don't know. We try and keep it different. I don't do the same stuff everybody else does because you already got 6 guys. I don't film like, the short plays at practice that 6 other guys will show you video of. You don't need a 7th. I'm here for other things. I'm here because I've been here forever. So when Jamin Davis does 114, I can tell you the story about Terry Allen did 133. That's what I do. So I appreciate everybody who was coming tonight. And I'll be back, I think, next Monday night for this. But watch the videos during the day. And I appreciate everybody's support. I have a new book out about presidents and drinking. I know everybody will buy it. So I'm Rick Snider for Rick Snider's Washington. Thanks for coming. If you're watching on replay, this will be reposted again on replay in a few minutes. YouTube does it for me. And you can watch whatever you missed. And anyway, thanks a lot for coming. See you guys next week.